Again, thank you everyone for taking the time out of your day. I'm going to try and keep this to between about 30 and 45 minutes today for us. I'm going to get into the details of our facial recognition technology, specifically as it applies to an NVR in our product lineup, the 916NS. And then I will open up to Q&A. If as I'm presenting the machine and some of its highlights, you have questions, feel free to type them in that question and answer area on the Zoom. I am joined by Hadi Sharafa, who is our products manager here at IC Realtime. Hadi, I think he's going to say hello because he came off mute.
Hello, everybody. Thank you
Awesome.
for having me, Lewis, and the great intro.
Yeah, no, thank you, Hadi, and thanks for being here. So, Hadi is here because Hadi is the gentleman within the organization that is in charge of our product development, that is the liaison to our factory engineers over in our Korean manufacturing resource, as well as over in our mainland China manufacturing resource. And he's also the guy that bails me out of trouble when I start to get too smart for my own good and don't exactly articulate the features as they need to be. So you will see Hadi step in on occasion, and I will definitely lean on him for what I think will be a better articulation of the feature and the benefit than I may be able to do so myself. So why we're here today is, Hadi heading up research and development over the past several quarters, including installed use cases from some of the preferred dealers, relationships in our network that volunteer for that kind of stuff. We've had this machine deployed, we've tested it, put it through its motions, and again, it's been used in the field. We had one of our integrators recently use this at the Iowa State Fair, and the facial recognition came off wonderfully. We're going to be posting a YouTube video. It's in its editing stages right now, but the gentleman, the integrator we're speaking of, he made an entire video around his experience with this machine at the State Fair, with again some good real-time scenarios that this machine can pull off with the cameras, and we'll send everybody at some point a link specifically to that video on our YouTube channel when we post it. But what's happening right now with this machine is the next generation is ready for testing and release from the factory. We are anticipating all of that R&D to be completed nearer the first quarter of 2023. So it's not that this webinar is premature in presenting everybody with this product, as much as it's intended to get everyone to want to hopefully embrace this product, think about what installs that they could put a NVR like this with the cameras into, and then certainly as you start getting projects in your respective pipelines at the nearing the end of the fourth quarter, moving into the first quarter of 23, this could be something that you add into that bill of materials on that project, and ultimately and hopefully want to purchase and install. So again, this is the idea, is show you all of this great AI functionality and have you think about where does that fit into your landscape as you near the end of this calendar year into the beginning of next year, and getting it into your projects. Live webinars, by the way, for any of you that have a sales executive that are already an authorized IC Realtime dealer, if you wanted to get an even more, I don't want to say customized as much as I want to say just that one-on-one with your sales executive, a screen share, discussing a little bit more of the features and benefits, certainly reach out to your sales executive and we can help get those arranged for you, and we'd love to do that. And certainly if you do wind up ultimately purchasing one of these machines, we've got all the support from a pre-install standpoint that we can provide to make sure that you truly understand what you're doing with your setup and that your install goes off without a hitch. And then certainly for anyone knows about us that does business with us, our post-install support is available Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. They are our live support agents that work in either our Pompano Beach, Florida, or our Goodyear, Arizona office. And they're certainly available to get into the live queue or get a call scheduled and get whatever level of assistance that you need. We're certainly here to help support your business. So without further ado, just bear with me here. I'm going to bring up as a start the cut sheet, and I'm going to share my screen. And so this is the cut sheet to the 916NS, the version 1 that currently went through the R&D. I have 5 of these left on the shelf. So if at the end of this webinar, anyone wants to purchase one of these machines, please get in touch with either your sales executive. If you don't have one, certainly reach into the company. I'll give you my contact information. We'd love to move these last 5 units we have of the version 1 off the shelf now if you feel there's a need, and that next generation version, like I said, will be available in the coming quarters. But the 916NS is a 1U. You could use a rack shelf if you needed to in order to make it rack mountable. It's a 16 channel built-in 16 port PoE. Ports 1 through 8 will support extended PoE and EOC. Human body temperature thermal support. It does support the H.265 compression. It does have the ability to output in 4K. So if you want to use 4K, 8 and 12 megapixel cameras. It supports facial recognition. The facial recognition, the AI chipset is built into the machine. And this is kind of where the magic happens at the machine level, regardless of the camera you're using. The camera does not need to have AI functionality built into it. It can be, for lack of a better term, a dumb camera, which is just a basic resolution that sees with no other features, but you can take that camera and turn it into an AI style camera, again, via the machine. The machine supports intelligent motion detection and smart search, which is the ability to go into your playback video and give an indication that you want to search exclusively by human or exclusively by vehicle. That is what that refers to. There's 320 megabits of total bandwidth available. That does drop down when the AI function is enabled. Okay, but as of right now on this generation 1 machine, only 4 of the 16 channels can accommodate the facial recognition, and I'll get into the details and show you the actual machine. We're going to log into the interface of the live one we have set up here, and I'll explain the differences between a facial recognition and a facial detection. So again, 4 channels face recognition. However, you can use up to 8 channels for the IMD support, which includes face detection amongst other type of analytical rules that you can draw within the machine. It has 2 SATA 3 ports, so you can get a total of 16 terabytes of storage. If anyone has that experience when installing cameras, you can reduce your frame rate, you can up your compression, and that will reduce the megabit throughput at the camera level, which will allow for longer periods of storage. And of course, you can also go in and massage whether you want the 24/7, motion only, event only, etc. So although 16 terabytes may not be as much as a machine that has 80 terabytes, you can still create a solid 30 days of event capture and recording, when you follow those parameters. System overview, I'm not going to read this word for word and make everyone go to sleep, but certainly, again, 4K resolution, AI searching, real-time face recognition, facial attribute analysis, gender, age, expression, glasses, mustache, all of the above. And then again, of course, IMD, the difference between human and vehicle detection. And 95% accuracy is there. You really get virtually no false alarms with IMD nowadays. Some of the other technical specifications, again, I'll spare you the detail. I'll send anyone that wants the cut sheet, or even everyone that signed up for this, I can send the cut sheet out to. and you can get a look at a lot of the specific parameters. It does have alarm and relay outputs, so there's very cool features you can do with machines that have those dry contacts when you're talking about maybe running an alarm wire from that dry contact on the back of the recorder to some kind of ancillary device, whether it was some kind of audible like a siren, whether it was a floodlight. Believe it or not, you could pre-record your voice in a message, scream at your neighbor, get off the lawn. If the camera picks it up, face recognition, trips it, sends the signal through that contact and that relay, to that audible device. All very, very cool stuff that you can do. Even when you get into the ANPR, which is the plate recognition, which is a functionality built into this machine. If you've got a gate and you want to create a allow list and block lists based off license plates, you're running that alarm wire to that strike lock. So then again, car pulls up, recognition occurs, license plate, this person's friendly, open sesame, let them in, versus the opposite of somebody that you wouldn't want to have come onto your property, your home, your business. So video detection, alarm, all of the great things it does, like I'm showing, all of its certifications. It is UL listed, and that number is right there. AI features, again, capabilities, AI search, human vehicle detection, up to 4 channels on the AI face recognition, up to 8 channels on the other types of IMD and IVS rules that I'll feature and show to some of you, or to all of you. And then of course the dimensions on the machine, what the panels look like, pretty good full cut sheet. So if you bear with me here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring into view. This is the actual interface of the machine. I'm logged into it directly through its IP address as it resides on our network. Live view. We've got 3 cameras set up on this machine right now. Oh, my connection timed out. Bear with me. I'm going to have to log back in. Now we'll go back into the live view. There's our cameras. We'll just start to click on the streams and we'll get the video to come up here. This is live right now. This is our sales area here in Pompano at IC Realtime. This is our reception area. That's the turn in between the 2 areas. We've got cameras set up. Very cool. You can see here one of the functions that you can do. We've blocked out the receptionist computer screen, and again, feel free to use that feature however you'd want to, in your own installs and setups. So those are the cameras that are on live view right now. So let's get into the cool stuff here, which is the AI. So the first thing is I'll get down here into the parameters. And this is where Hadi, I'll need you to break in and help me out here as we explain some of this stuff. I'm going to turn over to Hadi to help with some of these explanations right now. I will point as he speaks. So Hadi, if you could take it away on smart plan, sir.
All right, so on the smart plan, that's where if you have like a AI camera or just a camera with in general IVS rules, you usually have to go to that to set up what type of event you're doing on the camera. As you see, it's starting off with channel 2. That is because channel 1, we have it added as a raw IPSP stream, and we'll get more into that later as to why we did that. So channel 2, the camera itself has some basic IVS support. But it doesn't have facial recognition support or facial detection. That's why it's not an option on this camera. But we don't need that because we have an AI recorder in this case. And we'll see that in the next coming section. So if you want to go down to face detection is basically detecting and recognizing that there is a person in the scene and that there's a face to it and what that face attributes are. So does the person have a mustache or a beard? Does he have hair? Is he wearing a hat? Does he have glasses? Those are facial attributes, the metadata for the face. And then that's available. That technology has kind of been around for a while now, the face detection part. And that's where it separates from face detection to face recognition. Face detection just sees the attributes, but recognition is where you actually compare a face with a known face or a known image in a database. So when you turn on facial recognition, basically what you're doing is you're comparing a person's face to another face in the database and seeing the similarities. And then if that person's in the database, they'll be marked as a person in your known, and it will state the person's name, or it will be marked as a stranger if you turn on the stranger alarm if they're not in your database.
So, and let me take a second here and kind of go off of what Hadi just explained, and we'll show you what we're talking about. So when you go to face detection, and I'll go back to Monday and Tuesday, let's say, and this is your search. I'm going to search all channels. There's 3 on this machine right now. We could drill down, all right, as the AI would see it, all right, but we're going to go with all across the board right now. I've got my date, my time parameters. I hit my smart search. Here's the face detection. So it's not bouncing it against a database, but the AI knew enough that there's a person, not a vehicle, not an animal, has gone ahead and tagged it as it sees it. And then clicking on any of these will create this video. Oh, okay, no matching record. Let's try Mike. And then you'll see a play out of the event that captured Mike. And forgive the crawl of the frame rate here. We have it set up. Now the difference between detection and recognition, and we'll go ahead and put the same parameters in. And again, we'll keep it as an all across the board right now, is now it saw a face and it went into the pre-made database of faces that have been loaded onto the machine, which, yes, you do have to set that up at the install level, whether it was you or you train your end user how to do it. But if you've got a business and they want to get headshots of all their employees, you've got a home, they want to get headshots of the families. I'll give you an extreme example. You've got a school and you've got I hate to say it, but a known registered sex offender potentially that came up in the area of that school, and you've got access to that person's picture through that offender database, and the school wanted to load those offenders in, then that facial recognition is going to work, recognize that individual, and create the push and the alarm notifications required to the administrators of that system that, hey, this person's on, or obviously with an recognition eye shot of the camera itself. And a side note, the better the resolution of the camera, the further away you're going to get it to resolve and see the person. So an 8 megapixel 4K camera, looking out at 30, 40 feet is going to be better, than a 1080p camera doing that same job. So please keep that portion of technology in mind. But again, reaching into the database every time. And bringing up this was the event with the audio going, they were talking because the camera had a microphone. That's the recorded video. You hear them speaking. And it was Andrew's face, that it clearly captured. So let me go back into parameters and we'll get into IVS. So again, camera 1, channel 1 is a camera that doesn't have this functionality built into it. We're adding this functionality via the machine. So IVS are the abilities to create, tripwires, intrusion zones, heat mapping, all of these things. You make a rule. I'll show you a live one here. If we wanted to catch anything that's going to come across that line, I'm going to actually take the direction to follow both lines. Okay. AI recognition, effective target, look for both people and vehicle. And then as I go back, that rule is now permanently in place. So anything that's going to trick that IVS rule will not only capture that moment of time on a video recording, you could now, when you've got your mobile application, your push notifications set up, anything tripping that rule could send a live push to you and tell you that this has occurred. So that's how the IVS works. And again, if we go up to Smart Search and we go to IVS, and I'll look specifically on channel 1 for all event types. And then here is all of the folks that had tripped that first line that you saw that we drew, date stamped, time stamped, the fact that it was a tripwire, the fact that it was a person. So I'll go back down into parameters, keep going down the list, video structuring. Hadi, I'll let you take back over if you could, sir.
So this is again more just video metadata. Some of the features we're also still working on and trying to improve as well. So some of the features may or may not be there when we do go out and release them. But this is more of just general overall scene metadata. So like if you're watching maybe like the front of a parking lot and you got a bunch of people going through it, it's going to pick up different metadata from the scene itself. Crowd distribution, which is the next one, similar concept. It basically overall view site, and you're looking at the front of an area, maybe like in front of like maybe a mall or something, or inside of a mall, and you're seeing, and you want to make sure that there's not crowds gathering around certain areas, or if there are crowds gathering in certain areas, you want to be notified. And then you can set your threshold of like how many people within a square meter, so how many people within a given region will be to trigger it. So if you have like 10 people or more within a square meter, that means you have a large crowd within that spot. And then from there, you go into people counting, which is again another technology everybody's known.
1 second. Let me just pause you from a crowd distribution. Again, I like painting scenarios for people because I think it helps them embrace even a little bit more. Like how would I apply that? So think residential, think pool party, think mom and dad going away. And they know that, you know, Junior is going to supposed to have 5 or 6 or 7 friends over. If they have this technology set up on a camera overlooking that area in the back of the house, in this, for instance, and they wanted to set those thresholds that Hadi just mentioned, you know, I want to get an alert. My kid said there's only 7 people coming over. So I'm going to set the threshold. Now I'm getting an alert. There's more people than anticipated. Now I turn on the camera and they've got 50 kids there. You know, so that's a residential scenario. You can take that and think about how do I apply that not only to other residential scenarios, but how do I apply that to some kind of commercial, business, education, municipality scenario as well. So sorry, Hadi, I wanted to throw that in there.
Nope, you're perfectly fine. People counting, I mean, that's pretty straightforward. You're trying to track and see how many people are coming in and out of your facility or location. Usually you use that like malls or entrances or stores that are trying to keep track of who's coming into their store, how many people are getting into their store, and during what hours or peak hours and stuff like that. Heat mapping, you would generally need like a fisheye camera. That's going to be usually used as an overview camera. You're going to be watching like the overview of the store and kind of watching where everybody's going and seeing where you get more foot traffic in what direction versus another direction. Really useful for like retail stores if they're trying to see, well, why is nobody buying stuff from aisle A while everybody's buying stuff out of aisle B and C? It'll kind of help you with that kind of data.
They put up a point of sale. You know, you've seen it in a grocery store during football season. There's that big new Bud Light POS layout. And again, that retail store wants to see, is that generating traffic? And that heat mapping will actually reveal those statistics for them to analyze. And then ANPR.
ANPR, which is basically stands for automatic number plate recognition. This feature is already available on our Elite recorders, and it's also, but you have to combine it with our LPR camera. So what this does is it picks up license plates from the vehicles and then databases it and keeps track of it, so you can go back and search for license plates that were in your facility.
All right, I'm going to mute Hadi there and kill that background noise for a second. I apologize for that. So those are all the parameters, how you set them up. Again, there's so much more detail we could get into, but in the interest of time and not wanting to keep everybody for 3 hours today, we wanted to give a briefer overview. And once those parameters are set up, now you've got the ability to go in and do your searches based on what's happened. Your databasing is your block and your whitelist, your allowed list. Again, whether you're doing that by plate number or you're doing that by your facial recognition databasing, that is how that all works out. So, forgive me. Not sure where that's coming from, so I apologize. I'm going to stop my screen share there on the interface. We are 26 minutes in. I am going to get to our Q&A, if you bear with me here. And all right, there are no open questions. Let's see, actually there were some. So will these features be available on other NVRs or specifically the 916? So the answer, the 916AS is the AI NVR with the built-in AI chip. So it will be specific machines that do have AI chips built into it. Keep in mind though, IMD, face detection, tripwires, intrusion zones, heat mapping, people counting, those are available through specific types of cameras. You just have to either get a look at the cut sheet. You could use our website. If anyone goes to our website, down the left-hand side, you get your menu to drill down resolution, that housing styles, etc. That is available to you that way. Frank asked, oh, my audio is horrible. I apologize, Frank. Jeremiah, the database that needs to be created, will that be the same from this NVR to the cameras that can do facial? So the answer, yes. The recorder database creation is the same on both sides. The benefit of doing it on the recorder side is you don't have to build the database for each individual camera. On the recorder, you're just going to make one database that would encompass all cameras that you put onto the system. And again, in this case, it's the first 4 channels only. And then of course, going over, we're covering the recorder side only today, not the camera side as well. So I've got somebody out there with a microphone on, I think in our organization, that's picking up the background noise. If everybody could, that would be great. We would appreciate that. Sorry about that, everybody. Let me look at some open questions. What's the recommended camera resolution? So that's a great question. Like I described a few minutes ago, the higher the resolution, the further out you can see things. If you look on our websites, on our cameras, in our cut sheets, and I'll tell you what, let me give everybody the benefit of resharing my screen. Anybody out there, please, in IC Realtime, your microphone. I apologize to our guests outside of the building. So this is again answering the camera resolution question. When you look on any of our cameras, and let's go to a very popular model, which is our D40V. All of our camera, all of our cut sheets and all of our presentations are the same on our. Again, guys, if you're at IC Realtime, will you please mute your microphone? So when you look on our cut sheet, you see something that we call DORI: detect, observe, recognize, identify. So this is giving you the parameters, and it changes camera to camera. And what changes a camera to camera certainly is the resolution, and also the ability, is it a fixed lens or a varifocal lens camera? Because remember, if you have a motorized lens camera, you could zoom in and permanently set your shot up. When you're zooming in on a motorized lens camera, your horizontal field will shrink as you get closer, but you are bringing objects or what you're hoping are going to be objects that cross in front of the camera closer to you and augmenting that distance. But this is a great way to understand, well, the tech, it's definitely going to see something at 183 feet. You're going to get a little bit clearer observation of what that camera is seeing as it gets a little bit closer. You're going to recognize, well, that's a person, not a cat. That's a man, not a woman, an adult, not a child. And then in this case, at 18 feet, you're getting exact identification, which is okay. That's Louis, that's Hottie, that's Susie, that's Joan. And again, increase your resolution, these numbers improve as you use a motorized lens and augment that distance and set that shot up as you're going to permanently record it. Those distances will improve as well. So higher resolution, you're seeing things on your Dory scale a little bit better than you would from a 1080p standpoint. Patrick, great question. Do you plan on adding animal detection? I'll let Hadi answer what he's working on with the engineers.
So animal detection is a little more difficult than people would actually imagine, because now you're trying to filter between human and animals, and they all have 4 limbs, a body, and a head. So it's kind of hard to differentiate them on the AI side, but we are still working on something along those lines. I can't share all the details at this moment about the animal detection, but I mean, it is something we are trying to achieve. But right now, the primary focus is filtering out everything other than human or vehicle on the AI side. And then we'll add in animals later.
Thanks, Hadi. Stephen West, great question. How many schedules can be set up for notifications? I guess if
I can answer that.
Yeah, go ahead, Hadi.
Well, it depends on how you kind of do notifications, because I mean, you have email notifications, you have push notifications. There's different types of notifications. If you have a mobile push notification, well, the notification on the cell phone, the app currently, it's either all or none type thing. You turn it on and it's just on all day, as long as the event trigger is on. So as long as the event itself is triggering, you'll get a notification on mobile push. But if you turn off the function during that time period, then you won't get a push because the event's not working, but you're also not recording that data. So, I mean, there's going to be give and take there.
Great answer. Patrick, another great question. When having notifications set up, the only way to stop them is to turn them off, then have to reset to turn back on. Any plans on having a schedule or pause for notification? I think I understand what's being asked, but no, you can set date and time parameters for when you want to have things on and off. You don't have to permanently turn it on, and I don't need it now, permanently turn it off. You can go in and say Monday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Tuesday, so on and so forth. Across
Lewis, they're primarily talking about on the mobile app. On the mobile app itself, you can't do that unless you have some sort of cloud.
But at the head end, on the machine level, you can certainly set it up that way.
You can turn off the feature that way. But then again, like say you have IBS rule set up and we have a tripwire. I'm just going to use that as my example now. In the tripwire, you can have it turned on and only active and triggering, let's say at night, if that's what you set your schedule to be. You're only going to get the alerts then at night, but you're only going to record IBS at night. During the day, you're not going to record any IBS because that event is now turned off. The only way to get around and have a full manageable schedule and where it pauses in between the day or pauses during some time periods, we would have to have some sort of cloud service to host all your notifications, and you have to sign in and subscribe, which means it's going to come at a cost.
Excellent, Hadi. Wow. I really apologize, everyone. William, does it have the ability to work with door access lock unlock? So the answer, like we were talking about a little while ago, you've got those alarm outs and those relay contacts on the machine. So certainly you can run an alarm wire to a strike lock, and then based on either an ANPR for plate recognition or a facial recognition, you've got the ability to manipulate and control, a door unlocking or a gate opening. And Hadi, I don't know if you want to add anything else to that or not.
So yeah, alarm contacts out of the recorder or from the cameras. You can be wired to almost anything. You just normally open, normally close contacts. I mean, you can set any type of event in our system to trigger the alarm outputs on our machines.
All right, awesome. Well, so there's no more questions in the Q&A. If there's no more questions, we're wrapped up for now. We definitely want to thank everybody for taking the time to. I apologize. We definitely want to thank everyone for taking the time to join us today. If you'd like a copy of the cut sheet, you could email me. My email is louis@icrealtime.com. So louis@icrealtime, all one word.com. I'm happy to send you a copy of the cut sheet. If you're an existing dealer and you'd like to get some price points and take advantage of one of these last 5 we have on the shelf for now, happy to get it to you. And of course, if you have any questions or you want to get any further information, detailed conversations, discussion, if you want to become a dealer, I'll certainly send you an application and we can talk some more from there. But again, thank you everybody for your time today. We appreciate it. We're looking forward to hosting our next webinar in October, probably towards the latter half of the month. I'm going to pick some other products. Probably going to stick with the AI theme. Maybe want to highlight the license plate recognition. I am open for feedback of any kind of products, process, best practices, installing, anything that we can help to enhance, what you're doing with your business. Send the recommendations. We're happy to accommodate. So with that, thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Stay safe. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next time. Well.